Hello, and welcome to Conquering Finale. My name is Jason Lafredo, and today we are starting the Staff Tool Strategies series of tutorial videos. And I'm a little excited about this because the Staff Tool in Finale is one of the most powerful tools that exist and one of the most important tools as far as I'm concerned. So get ready for this because this is going to be a bit of a long series, but well worth it in my opinion. Now, the Staff tool in the main tool palette is this guy here. It looks like a little treble clef within the staff, and that is called the Staff tool. And the staff tool will pull up a staff menu with a lot of different options here. And conceptually speaking, you may have heard me talk in this series before about frames. You know, Finale thinks in frames. So this is a single frame. It's one measure within one staff. That's a frame, that's a frame, that's a frame. And as I mentioned in the measure tool series, a vertical stack of frames like this is considered a quote-unquote measure in Finale. Well, the same exists with staffs in Finale. Basically, a horizontal row of frames is a staff. So conceptually, from Finale's perspective, anything that applies to the entire staff is likely going to be a part of the staff tool. Now, when you're in the staff tool, you may notice that you will get a lot of oops, going the wrong way there. You will get a lot of handles all over the place, particularly at the left edge of any given system. And all of these handles relate to different parts of the staff tool, and all of them can actually be right-clicked to bring up contextual menus. And starting from the right side of this bunch of handles here, this one, which is in the top left corner of the staff itself, is a specific handle that will pull up a contextual menu that will give you a lot of different options, mostly related to the staff attributes and hiding and deleting staffs and things of that nature. If you right click on one of these handles where the bracket is, this will give you information about the group that's set up there, which I'll get into, and also you can right click the handle for the staff name itself, which will pull up some other unique options related to the staff name. You can also right click within a measure if you're in the staff tool, and this will pull up a lot of different options for staff styles, which we'll get into in a little bit. So all this is to say, just be aware that there's a lot of handles going on here. I will talk about all of them in due time, but they can all be right-clicked to get contextual menus relative to what that is. Now, the staff tool, as I mentioned, is exhaustive, so this series is pretty exhaustive, and I'm breaking it down into a few categories. We're going to be talking about staff attributes, which very quickly is this box here, which basically tells the Finale that this particular staff or any staff that you have chosen here has these behaviors, has these independent elements, this appearance, and these items to display. And this is sort of the power of the staff tool in a lot of ways because, all of these options can be checked and unchecked however you need them for specific purposes. So this is the staff attributes. This is going to be starting with the next video. I think it's going to be at least 5 videos and I'm going to talk about the staff attributes. That's how important it is. And the staff attributes is actually so important to Finale in general that you have probably seen me come in and out of this window a lot related to other topics. So I may skip around if I already discussed something earlier. For example, the independent key signatures I definitely talked about in, what is that? I'm looking at my notes, video 5-3. Independent time signatures I talked about in video 6-6. So a lot of the stuff I've already covered already, believe it or not, but I will fill in the rest. In addition to the staff attributes, one of the unique things about Finale, in fact, in my opinion, possibly the most unique thing about Finale is what Finale calls staff styles. And the staff styles is literally just overrides to the staff attributes that you can make on a measure by measure basis, which is really kind of nifty. So all of those behaviors and independent elements, items to display, appearances, can all be independently changed in the staff styles on a measure by measure basis. Now, there are also other interesting options here, including the transposition, the full name, and the abbreviated name. And interestingly, this is sort of a little history of Finale. Going back to the staff attributes here, the staff attributes has all of these different categories: behaviors, independent elements, appearance, items to display. But in the score manager, the bottom section here is actually technically sort of staff attributes as well. Um, in fact, all of these options used to exist in that staff attributes windows until they initiated the score manager in version, what was that, 2011 or 12 or something, somewhere around there. They created the score manager and migrated some of these options over here. So, things like transposition actually technically are staff attributes. They've just been moved over here. And for us old school Finale users, we were always used to having this transposition in the staff attributes, which is sort of why in the staff styles, things like transpositions and staff names and stuff still exist here, because we can still override those particular items in the staff style. Anyway, that's a lot of information to give you right now. I will cover the staff styles in one of the sub-series of the Staff Tool Strategies videos as well. In addition to staff attributes and staff styles, we're going to be looking at group attributes. The groups are essentially, groups of staffs that have their own, unique attributes, including things like brackets, and you can have independent bar lines. There's different things you can do with hiding and different group names and stuff like that. We're also going to be dealing later with hiding staffs. There's ways to completely hide staffs in the staff attributes, but you can also hide staffs individually on a system by system basis. There's a bunch of different ways to do that. And then finally, the last thing I'm going to cover in this series is actually the spacing of the staffs. These handles will actually are draggable, so you can drag these in certain ways. And there's a lot of tricks to this that I think is worth knowing about. So that's probably going to be the last set of videos, or last single video. I haven't decided how many videos that's going to be yet. But there's also the respace staffs that we're going to talk about in that video/videos as well. All right, so a lot going on with the staff tool, but for now, what I wanted to give you was sort of the basics of adding, deleting, and reordering staffs, which is the first thing that you're probably going to need to do with your staffs. So from the staff menu, if you choose new blank staffs, it's going to ask you how many staffs you want to add, and then it's also going to give you this top line to top line distance. That has to do with the spacing. And this value of 1 here will be set in the document options under staffs here, default top line to top line distance 1. I'll get into that a little bit more when we talk about the staff spacing videos and things like that. But just know that you can adjust that value if you want. Now, when you use the new staffs like this, if you don't have a staff already selected, Finale is going to, first of all, load all the sounds, because I hadn't done that previously. Finale is going to add a blank staff to the bottom of the score. Right? I'm just going to undo. If I were to select a staff, let's say I select this viola and choose new blank staffs, it will put that staff above the selected staff, right? So now you see a blank staff above the viola. Now, the thing about adding staffs like this is that this truly is a completely blank staff. In fact, if I go to the score manager, first of all, it's going to put that blank staff in the correct order in the score manager as well. But you're going to see it says blank staff. There is a sound, a piano sound attached to it, but there's no staff name or anything. So it is pretty simple in that regard. And also there will be no linked part created when you do it like this. So sometimes using that new blank staffs is not the best way to add staffs. The better way to do this is to actually add staffs in the score manager. And I've talked about this in the score manager videos, but it works slightly different than adding staffs from the staff menu, in that the added instrument gets put below the selected instrument as opposed to above. So now that I've got this viola selected, I can go into here, add instrument. Let's say I want to add a second viola here. That second viola will get added below that instrument. So that's a difference there. And the good thing about, or the better thing about doing it with the score manager is that you'll get the appropriate clefs. If there's a transposition, you'll get that. You'll also get the staff name, but you will also get the linked part. Now, the linked part won't go in the correct order, so you might have to do some finagling in the manage parts, but at least it will actually generate the linked part. Now, perhaps the one minor disadvantage of adding staffs through the score manager is that you really can only add one at a time, whereas at least with the add or the new blank staffs here, you could choose to add 4 staffs, and it will add 4 blank staffs for you. Again, they're completely blank. They have no linked parts, so you'll have to do some manipulation within the score manager anyway. So not totally worth it in my opinion. Now, once we have a staff here and you want to delete a staff, there's a few ways to do that. So if you have something selected, and you only really need to have one measure selected here in the staff, we can go back to the staff tool, and there's actually two options for deleting. There's delete staffs and delete staffs and reposition. And the difference is this: when you press delete staffs, it will delete the staff and actually leave the space there. If you choose delete and reposition, it will do just that. It will swallow up that extra space. Those two functions can also be accessed, as you may have noticed, with two keystroke combos here. That is Shift Delete and Command Delete on a Mac. So Shift Delete would delete it and leave a space, or Command Return, Command Delete, there we go, would delete it and swallow up that space. Now, both of these delete options will, in fact, delete the linked part, so you won't have to worry about that. And obviously, that staff will also disappear in the score manager, as you would expect. The other way to delete the staff is with this handle here in the upper left corner. If you right-click it, both of those delete options also exist here, so you can delete staffs or delete staffs and reposition. Now, it is possible to delete multiple staffs. In fact, if you have two measures selected on two different staffs, we could, of course, go in here and delete staffs and reposition, and both of those violas will go away. Or, Shift Delete will do that. And I believe that you can contextually menu delete these as well. Yep, and they will go away. The tricky thing is that you can't actually delete non-contiguous staffs, because when you try and select two different staffs, it's going to actually select the staff in the middle here. But you can do this if you're in scroll view. So I just switched over to scroll view. And instead of using the measures to make selections, if you actually do, let's see, I'm going to delete viola 1 and cello here. If you actually select the handle here and then shift select the cello here, so now you can see, it may be hard to see, but just this is selected and just the cello is selected, and then do something like Command Delete. You can actually delete non-contiguous staffs that way if for some reason you need to do that. And then finally, the last way we can actually delete staffs is from the score manager itself. All the way on the right of the score manager, there's these little X's, and if you just press that X, that staff will go away, and it essentially does the delete and reposition option, so there won't be that extra space. And of course, the same thing happens. The linked part goes away as well. So that is basically all the ways that you can add and delete staffs in Finale. And finally, the other thing I want to show you about is reordering staffs. Now, you can't actually reorder staffs from page view like this. If you try and drag these staffs, if you do something, not like that, but if you do something crazy like try and drag the staff down here and then drag the other one up, it's not going to work. It's actually not even going to let you do that. So reordering the staffs right in the score is not actually possible. But there's two different ways to do this, and the first is from the score manager again. In the very far left column here, we have these little staff icons, I guess, and those can be clicked and dragged. So if you need to move your flute to down below oboe for some reason, you can do that, and it will also reorder that in the score just like that. So that's the first way to do it. The other way, which actually might be a little bit slicker, is if you go into the staff menu and do reorder staffs, you'll get sort of this mini utility here that will show you all of the staffs. And from here, you can kind of do everything all at once. So let's say the oboe needs to go below the English horn. And again, this is not correct, but I'm just showing you how to do this. These little arrows here, once you have something selected, you can press the down arrow and it will switch places with the English horn. And I thought no, you can't select more than one staff, but that's okay. So, any changes that you need to make for some reason, if your viola wants to go below the cello, you can do that. But we can also move entire groups. So you can see I have a group here of all the woodwinds and a group of all the brass. So I could actually just select that group of brass instruments here and press the up arrow, and it would put the whole brass section above the woodwinds. And when you click OK, it will actually switch that in the score and also switch it in the score manager to reflect that. What that will not do, I don't believe, is it will not change the order of the linked parts when you go to the Edit Part menu. Changing that order actually involves going into the Manage Parts window, and we can do the similar thing where we select an instrument and press the down arrow to change parts. And the only thing that this is actually doing when you make a change like that, it's actually just changing the order that they appear in this particular edit parts menu. It really has no effect on the look of the score or anything. It's just sort of a, just for viewing purposes in this little menu here. All right, so that is, an introduction basically to the staff tool, what it's capable of. I'm going to get into a lot more details with everything very soon coming up, starting with the staff attributes. And I also showed you how to add, delete, and reposition staff. So I think we're well on our way. I hope this has helped. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned. We've got a lot more staff tool strategy videos coming up. All right, once again, thanks for watching, and I will see you soon on the next video.